A quote that is attributed to the philosopher Schopenhauer says, "We should always be mindful of the fact that no man is ever very far from the state in which he would readily want to seize a sword or poison in order to bring his existence to an end." Hola! I planned on doing something else for this week when I came across this manga and I binge read everything. I mean, what's been published so far. I don't know why, but I really like this manga and I'll try my best to explain why. So the title of this manga is Shounen no Abyss, or Boy's Abyss. I started reading it because of the title. I guess I really like the word abyss. The author is called Minami Ryo, and the manga is being published in Young Jump. At the time of filming this, 3 volumes have come out, so it's a rather new series. And a quick trigger warning, the story does deal with suicide, so I warned you. Now, the story is a little hard to explain for some reason, but I'll try without spoiling anything. DMC is, of course, a high schooler named Reiji, and his last name is Kurose, which makes him, I think, the 3rd person that I did a video on named Kurose. He lives in a small town and he's a secret otaku, and he recently got into this idol group called Akuriru. Acryl? I'm really not sure what it's supposed to mean or whatever. And this group was introduced to him by his even bigger otaku and childhood friend Taco. So one day after school, they just chill as always when tourists ask them for the way. And they're looking for a specific location. And so Reiji is very confused, because why would some people from the city come to this small town, you know, in the middle of nowhere? But Chaco explains to him that there is a novel that is set in this very town, and in this novel 2 lovers commit suicide by drowning themselves. So they help these tourists, and Chaco talks a little bit about the novel and what's going on specifically, but then she changes the subject and tells Reiji that she was advised to take the entrance exam for the Waseda University. And that's a very prestigious university that actually exists, and it's in Tokyo. I didn't get in. I actually applied. Chaco then asks Reiji if he doesn't want to leave the town as well, but he kind of feels responsible for his family. His dad is out of the picture. His older brother is a troubled hikikomori. And his grandmother needs constant assistance. Like, she's at that age where or in the condition where she like pees herself and stuff like that. And so his mother is really relying on Reiji's help. So saying that he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders might be a good way of putting it. And it doesn't even end there. Another childhood friend called Gen makes him run errands for him and stuff like that. One evening, Gen asks Reiji to get some cigarettes for him, so he goes to the konbini to buy them. But there the clerk tells him that they don't sell to high schoolers, and that's new basically, because he never had any troubles getting the cigarettes before, and so he figured that girl must be new. Later that night, he sees her again when she's about to take out the trash, but there's also a homeless looking dude and he feels like he's kind of creepy maybe, so he should stay close to her in case something happens. She ended up giving the homeless looking guy a bento, and that's it, and nothing happened. So Reiji and the girl start talking, and it turns out that she's actually Nagi, a girl from that idol group that he loves so much. And this is where Reiji says his death began, and it's also the end of the 1st chapter. So this is where I'll stop talking about the specifics of the story and move on to my thoughts about the whole thing. I hope without spoiling anything. Immediately, this girl is suspicious, right? I mean, like, why would some pop idol and city girl be in such a small town, right? Then like start hanging out with this high schooler? And this actually brings me to my next point. the main character. For some reason, so many girls and women are drawn to him. We don't really know who Reiji is, and I can't really say if he ever acts out of character, because you don't really know who he is. This can make him interesting since you don't really know what he wants and what he thinks. It also seems that whenever somebody asks him to do something, he just agrees. I don't know at this point if he has a mind on his own. Like in the beginning, he seems like a regular guy, right? But one bad thing happens or one suggestion by somebody else and he kind of loses it. Like all it takes is for one person, and it's always a female person, to ask highly suspicious things of him, and he would do them without hesitating. And you know, there's a fine line between having no personality and creating an air of mystery around someone. I don't know if he's been hiding his true emotions and they just get triggered when people say certain things or certain things happen, or if he somehow gets triggered by women, I don't know. Or if he's just easily manipulated. I really don't know how he decides things for himself, or if he does at all, you know? The manga's of course not over yet, so we'll see. But somehow everyone in his life clings to him for support. Everybody in his life needs him to be something. Nagi is the only one who doesn't need him to be anything. She invites him to eternal peace, aka death, essentially. And in my eyes, that's why she doesn't even need this amazing personality. She functions more as a symbol in my eyes. Tuckle, on the other hand, is more fleshed out, and she has a distinct personality and a stronger will than probably anybody else in the story. The other characters, like the mother and the teacher, seem like leaves drifting in a river. And these no personality types can seem like bad writing at first, but I like to think that it was a deliberate choice to stress the apathy that you can sometimes feel in a small town. It's also interesting that there are basically no men in Reiji's life, aside from Gen, who despite everything seems to consider Reiji as a friend still, and for some reason cares really deeply about him. But other than him, there doesn't seem to be a single male figure of importance in Reiji's life. I don't know, I'm just starting to feel a little sus about it. The fact that the story is set in a small town makes a lot of the things that happen quite relatable, at least to me. I spent many years when I was younger, in my youth, in a small town. And you know, everyone knows everyone. Dreams die when you grow up to live the life your parents lived. You know, things like that. It wasn't fun. But yeah, now let's talk a little bit about the art as well. So I think the character design isn't super outstanding or whatever. It's pretty good, but you know, it's nothing super unique or anything. However, I think the author is really good at creating the right atmosphere. The town has this dark history, and it feels like there's constantly something sinister lurking in the shadows, or a darkness waiting to pull you into the deep, or into an abyss, if you will. Everyone constantly seems to be at the brink of suicide. And that feeling again reminds me of the quote that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It kind of feels like everything is normal during the day, and as soon as night comes, everything changes. And some people were complaining that this manga is trying to be deep, and honestly, I don't know what people mean when they say that. Like, what is considered meaningful differs for everyone, right? I don't really understand that sort of criticism, but okay. Like, just try to take it as it is, you know? So I don't know why people say stuff like that. at all. Like, unless something is really trying to be like in your face lecturing you or whatever. But like in this story, I don't get it at all. Like, just because certain themes are mentioned, does that make it like a story that's trying to be deep? And I think these kind of reviews are often written by children who read mostly like the classic Shounen stories, so I can't really take it seriously. Like, yeah, that's a point I really don't like seeing in reviews, unless you can explain exactly why you think that way. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anyone. And I mean, if you say you don't like the story, that's fine, obviously, then you just don't like it. But like saying it's trying to be deep, like what the hell does that mean? So yeah, I definitely think you should be able to try and explain why something is portrayed in a like wrong way or in a way that you have a problem with, because otherwise that it's just an opinion and it should be written as such. But yeah, let's move on. There's actually a lot to say about this manga, I think, but I kind of see this video as an introduction or first impression kind of video. Maybe I will get back to it at some point, maybe when it finishes. But for this week, that was all I wanted to talk about. And of course, I'd like to know your thoughts as well, so please share them with me. And yeah, hope everybody has a good week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.